Firefighters are battling a massive blaze in South Toledo this morning after Toledo Fire reported 2 explosions on South Avenue near Thad Street. This is just north of Airport Highway. We have live team coverage bringing you the latest. We have our Laura Sandlin and Heather Pauloff on scene. Let's first start with Heather. Heather, what did you learn this morning?
Sophia, I've talked with a number of residents who live in the area who saw and heard the explosion that happened around 5 o'clock this morning. And they tell me that they didn't know what was happening at first. They came outside, they saw the billowing smoke that is still continuing to pour out of this building this morning. We also talked with Fire Chief Armstrong this morning, and she says that a few of the employees received minor injuries from the explosion, but there are 2 other employees who are still unaccounted for at this hour. So again, we have seen a lot of those individuals who are out here along South Avenue near Elmdale, where they are continuing to watch the crews. There are dozens of police cruisers, ambulances, fire trucks, still a lot of emergency crews out here continuing to battle this fire. We're going to continue to stay on scene, but our Laura Sandlin has been live out here this morning since we first received calls of this happening out here, and she's going to tell us more about what's going on here too. Laura.
Heather, thank you. We first got here just after 5:30 this morning, and when we did, this plume of smoke that you are still seeing at this hour was much thicker and much darker, but it was still going hundreds of feet up into the air. Now, these explosions have caused a large response, not only from the Toledo Fire Department, but as well as Toledo Police and EMS. So far, we've seen crews entering and exiting the complex. Right now, like Heather mentioned, we did speak with Chief Armstrong, who tells us that the 911 calls came in just before 5 this morning. And we actually had a chance to speak with residents as well, who tell us that they were awoken by those explosions with their homes and their windows shaking, leaving them feeling extremely worried and heading outside to see what they were able to see. Now, when we first got here, there were large amounts of flames heading into the sky. And at this hour, crews are still continuing to battle those flames from up above, using the water to spray down into there. So far, we've seen a lot of that smoke begin to thin out, and luckily it looks as though the fire crews are starting to make progress on this massive fire. Now, according to Chief Armstrong, she says that this complex is actually an industrial cleaning complex, and what caused those explosions were cleaning chemicals. At this hour so far, we do not know what actually led up to those explosions, but she says based on the initial investigation, she says the building was in the middle of a shift change. And like we mentioned, luckily those people experienced only minor injuries, and for those 2 unaccounted people, they are still going through the roster and searching different parts of the building where they could possibly be and could have escaped those flames. Additionally, the chief says there have not been any firefighter injuries at this time, which is really good to note, but we're going to be sure to keep you up to date with what we're seeing. But so far, as you can tell, that smoke is continuing to travel through this area. So they are mentioning that if this is part of your morning commute, they are recommending to avoid this area, stay safe, and make sure you're checking in with your loved ones. Well, we'll keep you up to date with what we're learning, but for now, we're going to send things back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Laura, thanks so much. We'll continue to check in with you throughout the morning. We saw those massive plumes of smoke there behind Laura. Ryan, you are actually catching it on radar?
Yeah, that's something very rare this morning. I think goes to show you the scope and the scale of how massive these explosions and that fire was at one point this morning. Watch on radar right there, that plume crossing the Maumee River. We saw it as far away as about 20 miles downstream, if you will, up in the atmosphere, all the way over Wood and Ottawa counties at one point this morning. Again, just to kind of put it in perspective, how big that fire was just after about 5 a.m. Right now, you're